flipped around somehow.
What flipped around?
The camera like did like a 180.
Is it not doing it?
It's doing it. It's fine now.
You fixed it?
Yeah.
Okay. It must have face tracked me away from you.
Oh, possibly.
I got up.
It's like, where are you going? How do you even set up face track? Like, not that I'm trying to,
You
but
tap on the face.
like on my face.
The face you want to track.
Oh. Just- It just recognizes it as a face.
Well, yeah, it's got AI and shit.
AI.
Guys, welcome back to Jacob V Weekly. We want to start like we do every week by reminding you to check out Caddyshack of Hamel, Illinois. CATTYSHACKIL.org. You can find us at jacobv.com, JACOBVI.com. Patreon.com/JacobV is the only way to support us financially. There's tons of cool stuff going up there every week. Live concerts that I, multicam myself, and it's a lot of fun. It's where you want to be. You also get these episodes before anybody else. You'll get these the minute they're done, usually in the middle of the night when I'm sitting at my computer. And then the public won't get them until a little bit later. So yesterday I did a podcast down here with this guy Drogo, who I'd never met before, and he's a St. Louis native singer-songwriter. He's got a farewell show coming up on Monday because he's going to the Philippines.
Going to the Philippines.
Just Big Philly style. That's what they call that when you're going to the Philippines. They call it Big Philly style.
Yeah.
And I've always said that. And, also, have you noticed that there's a online beef happening in the last 24 hours?
Absolutely.
Lord have mercy.
It has nourished me.
I have been I feel like we don't like Elon now.
But it was, it's all inevitable. The feud was inevitable.
But my favorite is the fake ones that are coming out. So Trump and Elon are fighting. And Trump will post on Truth Social. And did you know that a post on Truth Social is called a truth?
We're posting facts here.
We're posting just truths.
Yeah.
This is my truth.
Yeah, I just truthed.
I had to make a Truth Social account just to see if this post was real. Because it's not, but I was hoping it would be. It said, "It's sad it's come to this, but the truth must be known. I was the one that gave Elon that black eye. He got sassy and had to put him in check. Also, I know I told you Teslas are cool cars, but they're actually quite girly. Wouldn't be caught dead in one. Very gay." I totally believed that was a real response until I seriously had to go through all the motions of making my own Truth Social account just to see if he really posted that.
Yeah.
And it's not a great website. It doesn't load perfectly every time and whatnot. But, of course, Elon's thing is, well, if you're going to terminate all of my government contracts, which is what Trump said he was going to do, and that's how this all started, then I'm going to tell everybody that you're in the Epstein files, and that's why they haven't been released, which isn't news to anyone.
No. We're just waiting for them to be released.
We were mostly waiting to see how are they going to release everything but Trump being in there. You know what I mean? I just assumed they were going to release stuff and then just take out the stuff that would be,
It's just like big blocked off lines.
But that also must mean, that, they're
going to ask ChatGPT.
They've talked about each other in interviews. And like there's videos of them at parties together. And
how could you not be?
Yeah.
So
there's just a lot more to that story that the people don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know it either.
I am just here and I'm really happy to just kind of like glow in this moment of the girls fighting.
Yeah.
Because it's a good thing that a woman's not a president because, it would be too emotional. They'd be just too emotional and they wouldn't have their head on straight and, their periods would get in the way of running the country. So it's good to see these two men just getting together and, figuring out their differences in an adult manner. So, praise him.
Yeah. And it's just been a mess. It's just been a mess out there.
It's messy. It's the drama.
I feel so at home right now. I just wish you and I could do this every day. If the last 30 minutes was our 9 a.m. Every day, and then we'd go have a nice lunch, and then we could just be on our merry way.
Yeah.
That's Lion's Choice. Send the check. Send the... I pay for that beef every time I get it. And I don't mind it, because I like it that much.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about you participating in an infrastructure with us here at Jacob V Weekly, where I get to do this every day, and then you get me to tell people about the beef. I'm just saying, consider it.
Yeah. As much time as we spend talking about Lion's Choice, they need to be paying
It just
us.
doesn't. There ought to be a law that, like, automatically I have to get something.
Royalties. They're spoken royalties.
Like spoken royalties.
Yeah.
I mean, but that would be a dead end. I mean, because,
Sure.
you know, we'd bankrupt Lion's Choice talking about them so much.
Yeah.
So that's all happening. And
I really love the memes of them fighting. Like, there's one of like two girls kind of fighting in a front lawn, and then Bernie Sanders is just in his lawn chair, like the lawn chair meme, or the, you know, relaxed grandpa meme. And that one's really funny.
or what about the was it him with his mittens? I have a bumper sticker of
yes,
Bernie with the mittens.
yes, that one.
He's just watching them fight.
Yep.
I thought he was too old to be president 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Wasn't Bernie too old 8 years ago?
Is there a too old?
I guess not.
I guess not.
That used to be a thing we used to talk about. I can't believe this has all been going on for so long. It's been
Yeah.
11 years of this. Mm-hmm. No. 9?
What, of Bernie?
Well, so I'm just thinking 2016 is when
Oh, sure.
the DNC iced out Bernie for Hillary, and then Trump beat Hillary. That was all 2016.
Yeah.
And I thought we'd never see Bernie after that because I thought he was too old.
Yeah,
He
no.
seems busier than ever.
Busier than ever. I think he'll be in the Senate until he dies.
Is that allowed? Did you hear about the lady who
I don't know.
was missing? The congresswoman who was missing because she was in an old folks home?
No.
Yeah, she was still in Congress and was just trying to double dip, I guess, but she was like severely old and in assisted living, and that's where they found her.
How long does...
Months. She was gone for months.
Okay, nobody just said anything, huh? The people that put her in there were like, well, I guess we should probably tell her employer. You know,
Congresswoman in old folks home.
You know,
I guess old folks is not the preferred nomenclature.
Yeah.
Why's my Wi-Fi not on?
You know.
Yeah. Absent GOP congresswoman found in assisted living home. This is in December of last year. Kay Granger. She missed 100% of the votes last year after July 24.
Nobody checked up on her. Nobody was like,
Well, they couldn't find her.
oh, okay.
I guess she didn't want people to know.
Wow. What state?
She's from... It doesn't say. They got a tip from a constituent. Fort Worth. So that's Texas?
Yeah.
She was in Tradition Senior Living in Fort Worth. Rolling Stone's blurring it out because they want me to pay for it. Like, I can't still read it.
Of course.
You dumb.
You dumb. You gotta subscribe.
Gotta subscribe. Very gay. That's all we kept saying at
Very
trivia last
gay.
night before we could figure out if that was real or not. I was like, what if Trump did that? What if he said... And then I saw today Trump wants to get rid of that red Tesla he bought at the White House.
Oh, cool. Yeah. You know, just we're backtracking.
Yeah,
We're
and
going
then
all the way back.
a big part of the controversy is that people are like, "Oh, Elon's been on drugs this whole time." I'm like, that's not a surprise to anybody either.
No.
If I was him, they were saying he was always on ketamine, ecstasy, mushrooms, and Adderall, which
Wow.
in small enough doses is a hell of a combination.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
You know how good music would sound
You gotta...
if you had, and we're talking small dose, ketamine, ecstasy, magic mushrooms, Adderall. Music would sound really good.
Absolutely.
It would make the music sound good. It would make just ordering chicken nuggets would be like it'd be like the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Like if you pulled up and you saw the 40 nugget family deal at McDonald's, and you're high on those 4 things, I don't even know how you could wait. I don't even know how you could wait
I don't
that
even
long.
know.
So I think about that, and I raise it up in prayer.
You know what? I will be. I don't. Will I be happy? When Trump deports Elon Musk back to Africa.
Okay, so that was another fake Truth Social post. Was that somebody posted that Trump said, "Why don't you go back to Africa?"
Yeah.
Which is what I have said about Elon Musk since he started acting crazy. And then this recently.
But was there the real? Was it a real one where he was like Elon lied on his naturalization?
Probably also not real. The stuff that Trump has actually said has been pretty tame in language. Less so in implication. I think, Elon went through a lot of loss of equity and whatnot when he started getting into bed with the whole Trump thing. Not to mention the $47 million a month he was giving him to win the campaign. But that, I think Elon was definitely like upset about all of that, but was, willing to go in on it with him. But then he's going to pull all the contracts and whatnot, which is a lot of the space stuff.
Yeah.
It also doesn't seem like they're cutting any of the big stuff that we actually want them to cut.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he's like, we could terminate these contracts with SpaceX. I'm like, well, yeah, but then we have to abandon all those missions or pay for our own version of that technology, and that's not cheaper than him doing it. I'll tell you that for nothing.
I'll tell you that for nothing.
I'll tell you that for nothing.
Not 1 cent.
And so now he's like, well, I'm not getting these government contracts, and now my cars are only worth $20,000. Mm-hmm. People are getting those cars like crazy.
These days with the
because of the price drop.
Oh, sure.
I mean, there are people that are not really hip to like the ideology or whatever. There's people that got them on purpose for that reason. But there's plenty of people that are not hip to the ideology who are like, I don't know, man, you can get it for $250 a month.
Yeah.
And whatnot. That it still doesn't make sense to me. The charging station thing, it seems like it takes too long.
Exactly. I don't. If I'm on a road trip, I don't have time to stop for 30 minutes to charge. Yeah,
I don't plan my life to where it's the Oregon Trail and I can take 3 days to get to Springfield.
Exactly. Like I'm stopping for 10, 15 minutes tops.
It's a drive-through. Fast gas goes into my car.
Yeah. And, well, while you're gassing, you're going in, you're grabbing, snackies.
Yeah, I go in there and take a hot shit. Yeah. And I get a beef jerky and a 44-ounce Diet Coke.
And we're in.
And the gas has been pumped.
It's already been pumped, but if with electric cars you have to wait around for another 15 minutes, and what am I going to do?
And what if I'm about to die and I pull up and they're all occupied?
Right. Yeah.
And then what if, like, I hear the older ones especially sometimes have a problem where it's not like gas, where it's a linear taper down of your level of gas. When it's electricity, it can recalibrate. You could all of a sudden, if you get on the highway, it could all of a sudden tell you have much less power than you thought you did.
Yeah.
So they seem fun to hang out in. The screens are amazing.
Sure. Yeah, I don't like all those electronic frequencies around me.
And I also think you have to pay like $100 a month for the add-on package of
subscription
that'll drive itself. I'm not paying $100 a month and for all the electricity. I do want the car to drive me.
Yeah, sure.
I kind of want a self-driving car with gas in it.
It depends on how much money you'd be saving without taking Ubers.
Yeah.
I
kind of want a self-driving car full of gasoline, premium, high explosive.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't even think they do one. I think all the self-driving cars are electronic.
Yeah, definitely.
I just like gas. A lot of the Volvos now are plug-in hybrid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. It's definitely the most efficient way to do it because then you solve that problem of getting on the highway, eating up all your power. Mm-hmm. But the plug-in hybrid, I'm like, if it's a hybrid, I don't want to plug it in.
Yeah, my mom had a hybrid van that it would charge, but it would go off of electric after like 25 miles per hour. It was like nothing. You could only like cruise on electricity.
Yeah, some of the Toyotas are like that.
Like, what are we doing?
The stop and start is the thing.
Yeah.
That, but I think the cars are stupid because of that, not because of the people that own or make them. I mean,
They're
you have to know that if you're trying to replace fossil fuels with electricity, you have to make it as convenient as fossil. I'm not going to be the first one. I'm not out here trying to invest in an infrastructure and participate in a beta period.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to Taco Bell, and I'd rather do as little of that driving as possible on my own.
You know, because you have to live Moss.
You have to live Moss.
And if you're not living Moss,
You know how much food I would have to bring with me to continuously be eating throughout the whole charging of my Tesla at a charging station?
yeah. It's like I have to get home and I have to eat this in front of my TV.
Yeah. Alfred has a couple of plug-in hybrids, and it's like $90 a month to charge them at his house. He has a specific meter on his garage,
Oh, interesting.
so he knows exactly how much it is. So I guess that is less than gas, probably, for 2 cars.
Sure.
I don't think I could fill 2 cars with gas and drive them every day for $90.
A month. Is that what you
Gas
said?
is also cheap right now. Gas is in the 2s.
Yes.
I think it should just be fixed at $2.99.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, whenever the dinosaur juice stops
Okay, now here's the
flowing.
problem. We call them fossil fuels, but that doesn't mean they're made from dinosaurs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it does.
It does?
Where,
I don't think it
where
does.
are we getting fossil from?
Because it's old. It's fossilized.
Okay, do fossil fuels?
Do fossil fuels come from dinosaurs?
No.
No, fossil fuels do not primarily come from dinosaurs. They're formed from the remains of prehistoric plants and animals, including algae and other microorganisms that lived millions of years ago. Okay, so they could be partly dinosaurs
Yeah.
because they're formed from organic matter.
You know what? We should just start Flintstoning all over the place
What does that mean?
with our feet, driving our cars with our feet.
I don't want to do that. That sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are big stone wheels on them, too.
Yeah. And no, we can keep the same.
Keep the cars we
keep
have
the
now.
cars we
And just put our footsies out
With our
and give it a kick.
Yeah.
Give it a little spush.
You know, it'll also help the birth rate rise because you're going to need children to help you do that. You're going to need as many people as you can to drive the car forward.
Can we talk about that for a minute? Mm-hmm. I feel like there are lots of people.
Yeah.
However, nobody is having children.
Not in Japan, at least.
Around here.
Yeah.
I mean, none of our friends
It's
have
expensive.
kids. It is expensive.
It's too expensive, you know.
What do we really do about that?
Shit, I don't know. I don't know. Free sperm.
Because you need people to be repopulating to continue to grow and nourish the economy. And that makes sense to me. But it doesn't, if you can't afford any of that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's universal health care, maybe.
I think healthcare is a big one. I think the whole hospital thing with a baby should probably be free. We should probably pay for that as a nation. If you're having an American citizen, America should pay for it.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that's that crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't mean go to the VA and have the government deliver the baby. I mean, do exactly what we do now. Send the bill to the government, and then the government should pay it.
Yeah.
Then, I think daycare is the big thing. I mean, I was telling somebody the
Daycare's
other
huge.
I think it's so expensive. And I think it would make more sense to subsidize stay-at-home parenthood.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
if I had this idea, and this could be controversial to some people, because some people don't live in the light of God. Mm-hmm. Some people live outside the light of God, and they want me to act like they deserve everything that I deserve, being in the light.
In the light.
But what I'm thinking is, if you're married and your spouse works full time, you, as a stay-at-home parent, should be entitled to a stipend. Maybe it's the same as unemployment. Maybe it's $250 a week. Maybe it's $500 a week.
Yeah. Hey, that's great.
And then you can get rid of all that other stuff that people complain about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't think it should just be you get $500 a week per kid no matter your situation, to stay at home. I really think it should apply to married people because we let everybody get married, which I'm for. And if you're married, especially if you have a child with that person,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it makes sense. Daycares are falling apart. People are dying in daycares.
Oh, that's
Daycares
crazy.
are getting shut down for criminal behavior all the time. And doing it per kid and allowing people just to have kids without any kind of structure or commitment doesn't make sense to me, because I don't want to fill the world with people that get $500 a week per kid just for having kids.
Yeah.
But if you're actually like a working family, and it doesn't have to be the man going to work. In my case, it wouldn't be. Kid makes a lot more money than I do.
Yeah.
So it would be, her going to work, the government give me a little bit of money so I can keep the baby out of daycare
Yeah.
and stay at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that sounds like a great idea.
And people will ruin that.
Of course.
People ruin things.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we have. We have to have standards. We have to
Yeah.
have expectations. And so we it is something that we will, as a nation, have to monitor.
And it's just weird. Like, we have so many systems where people are just built into their structure that they're going to abuse government assistance. Like, we called that guy, my friend Courtney,
Yeah.
who they know that if they only pay those kids $17 or $15 an hour, that they'll qualify to give those kids thousands of dollars in food stamps. But they don't buy the food stamps from the government. They're giving them to disperse to their seasonal employees or whatever. So it's like, oh yeah, I only make $15, but I also get all these food stamps. So that seems, why don't we shouldn't it be a situation where you shouldn't have to rely on the government to feed your employees?
Yeah.
If you have an employee,
Feed it.
feed that employee.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's thousands of jobs like that all over the country.
Well, I think because we're starting from the bottom. We're starting from.
Now we're here.
It wasn't that long ago that OSHA was created with Ralph Nader to create better working conditions in the United States. And so,
And it's the same with, we take it for granted, but in 1990 we had a law passed called IDEA, which was the Individuals with Disabilities Education.
DEI. What are you talking about?
It's
DEI.
different order, IDEA. And it was Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which basically said you have to get people with disabilities through their public education. You have to, it lays out all of the structure for accommodations and whatnot. So by the time we got to school, that was already common practice. That was the law, right? So we didn't see how the schools used to dump all those people that they could beforehand. A big reason why, specifically if you look at high schools, why testing and stuff is so bad now is because we keep more people in school than ever before, which I'm for. However, when you do that, you have to confront what the problem was all along. And the problem all along was that a certain percentage of those students are not getting the quality of education as everybody else. And it's going to have to go one way or the other. We're either going to have to do a much better job, or we're going to have to remove all of those requirements entirely.
Yeah.
Because right now we're sending everyone to school and expecting them all to finish, but they're not really set up to succeed.
Yeah.
And if we go the other way, I don't know what that's going to look like, but we'd have to dismantle a lot of that system. And it's crazy how it works, because it's crazy like schools I've worked in where we have thousands of dollars worth of buses every day, and we give everybody free breakfast and free lunch, which I'm for, because they wouldn't come to school without that stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't get their federal money if they're not there. So for some reason, it's worth it to spend all that money on all that extra stuff, because we still make a little bit more money at the top to pay for everything if we get them all in school. But in the city, we have a bus driver shortage.
Interesting.
So what do you do about that?
Yeah.
Principals are not driving buses.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because if it was like a business, like if you're a manager at an Emos and somebody doesn't show up, you figure it out. You
Yeah.
have to make that stuff happen.
Right.
That's the job of the manager. Somebody calls in, you're working their station until somebody fills in. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And especially since COVID, schools have not gotten more equipped.
Yeah.
You know, there was some money floating around for a while, but it didn't address the professional shortage really at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what the move is.
Limos. Bring everybody in limos.
Well, because you see that. There's small groups of students that, you know, in line with the buses, there will be taxis and other types of shuttle vans and whatnot. Because, again, the transportation thing, I mean, if they're not checking in for attendance, then we're not getting their federal dollars. So it's worth to the schools to get, you know, all that stuff moving. And then there's structures on the dark side of the moon.
Interesting.
Have you heard about this?
I have not heard about this.
Ingo Swann is a psychic guy. He was real popular in like the 90s. But he used to do remote viewing for the CIA, which is where you like close your eyes and you try to picture things that you can't necessarily get to.
Okay.
And remote viewing involves space and time. So you could go look at a specific thing in a specific place at a specific time.
Yeah.
And Ingo Swann said he went to go look at the dark side of the moon. And he encountered a being who looked right at him, which is uncommon when you're remote viewing. Typically, you're just viewing.
Okay.
Right? But this is obviously some sort of a higher being that could see him. And he looked right at him as if to say, you should not be here. What are you doing here? And then Ingo Swann left. But this is like an astral projection. So he's not physically on the moon.
Sure, sure.
You know what I mean? And but he described, and there's been people talking about this, that there's large multi-shaped structures on the dark side of the moon that appear to be poured out of stone, like how some of the pyramids and stuff kind of look. Like it would make more sense if they poured it into place somehow, how we would do currently with concrete. But
Yeah.
and then there was the Joe McGonigal who viewed Mars 1 million years ago and said that there was a population of people living in stasis underground as if they were like waiting to be rescued. So this has opened up a dialogue
Yeah. Yeah.
about intelligent life throughout history, even in our solar system, and that even to the point where some Bible scholars refer to a pre-Adamic period as to like beings that lived in our solar system before Adam and Eve. Are you looking this up?
I am. I'm looking at remote viewing first, and I can't.
You
believe
haven't
it's
spent
real.
all night learning about remote viewing like I have?
What was that guy's name? The first one?
Ingo Swann or Ingo Swann?
American psychic and artist.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so he did all kinds of entertainment-based stuff where he could do psychic things for crowds and for television and whatnot. But before a lot of that, he was also doing deeper stuff with the CIA and would see some of these things.
Wow.
Now, also, I've been following Chris Bledsoe, who's the guy that wrote UFO of God I told you about last time I saw you. And his thing is what we're calling plasmoids now, which are these specific UFOs we see that are like orbs and they're kind of like a plasmoid. You know what I mean? That those are angelic beings. And this has been the thing that's been the most interesting to me is the crossover between a spooky thing in the sky that we don't know what it is, and then also the dogma.
Wait, can you go back to explaining those angelic beings, like where they're usually at?
Let me see if I can find it. There's no consensus, of course. Spiritual entities or celestial beings. Some believe that UFOs are evidence of extraterrestrial life, while others suggest they are manifestations of angels or other spiritual beings. Right, that's the basis. And the crossover has been so interesting to me because they've been, a lot of the experiences this guy Chris Bledsoe has described in his book and in his podcasts and whatnot that he's done since then is, it sounds a lot like a story you might hear. There was one where his dog had been injured and was bleeding to death in front of everybody. And he stopped and, he has this relationship with this thing he calls the lady, which is this orb or this angelic being that he can kind of summon. And he shows people, and she flies off in the distance. And she just looks like a ball of light, usually on camera. A lot of people are saying that those plasmoid balls of light are the vessel for the celestial being. He was describing an experience where there were 3 of them, and the beings within the orbs appeared to be like 125 feet tall.
Wow.
And he, though, never goes X-Files with it. Even though the people around him are always kind of that ilk, he always just assumes that they're divine angelic creatures that are, interfacing that way. But his dog was bleeding to death, and he asked the lady to save him, but the dog just miraculously healed.
That's crazy.
And he's done all kinds of things where he'll just go visit with someone and just kind of try to channel the essence of the lady, he calls her, and miraculous things will happen. He went to see a little boy who was terminally ill with some kind of cancer, and he sat with him all night and talked to him, and he really tried to direct in his mind the lady to help this boy. And as soon as he left, his parents called him and said, as soon as you left, he ate 4 big plates of food. He hasn't eaten in weeks.
Wow.
And so something about this angelic being is attached to this gentleman and has been able to heal and help people through their collaboration together. But Chris doesn't really claim to know exactly how it works. He certainly doesn't feel like he's doing the healing himself.
Yeah, I wonder how many miles per gallon those plasmatic orbs get.
I don't think it's gallons.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? Because that's the thing too, is that it seems to be
Remember
0
how much
point
charge.
energy.
Yeah.
And also that another guy was explaining to another guy on YouTube that I was watching this morning that Lockheed Martin has what we could consider a time machine. It's a device that can move locations so rapidly. It's as if it's
traveling through time.
Yeah, manipulating space-time, which would make sense if that's what UFOs were always doing. That's why we don't see them land anywhere and plug in, and we don't see them. We don't see them going into it. We don't see them parked anywhere, and because we are limited by space and time in a linear way, where perchance maybe they are not. That's also been the thing about Bigfoot. Maybe we can't find Bigfoot going to the bathroom caught off guard somewhere because he's not always in this reality or this dimension or whatever the thing would be.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a physicist. I don't want to be. So I'm not sure where he would go.
Yeah.
But that's been the biggest conclusion from all of this stuff is that people are saying that the aliens are interdimensional and not bound by time the same way we are, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well,
And,
I mean, I certainly hope so.
You know,
And I mean, that's why I said I think the truth is a hybrid of both.
yeah,
And that, because it also gets mixed up in all the bullshit, because some of the bullshit seems to be that, like, some people are saying the Anunnaki are coming back to Earth.
the fuck is that?
The Anunnaki are the founders of our civilization, some say. An ancient race of people or entities who kind of seeded humans here and kind of taught them how to do stuff.
Oh, interesting.
And which is why you see some figures in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs that appear to be in like some kind of spaceship, or they appear to be using devices that they wouldn't have had in Egypt at the time. Things like that. But that also is tricky because people are also saying that the government is going to try to tell us that we're under the threat of an alien invasion. My thing is that already sounds like bullshit because I don't think a 3-dimensional threat makes any sense. The idea that an army of aliens is coming here and we should be worried about that in a 3-dimensional sense doesn't make sense to me. Because if the aliens were dangerous, they're already transversing space and time in such a way that, we could all be obliterated before we even knew what happened.
Sure.
I don't think that's their intention.
Yeah. If anything, they have the power to change things at their will anyway.
Yeah, I think humans are probably the real enemy, like we learned in The Walking Dead.
If anything, we're flooding their caverns in the Antarctic.
Well, and this is where it gets crazy. But living under the surface of a planet is not that weird. If you really look at it, if you were to consider living on any other planet than this one, a lot of them would require you to live beneath the surface. And so that's not that crazy. And if other beings, at least occasionally, inhabit Earth, and they can traverse space and time in a way that we cannot, it would be really easy for them to hide from us here, especially in the ocean. We're learning about, unidentified submersible phenomenon, and that there's videos of UFOs coming out of the ocean at high speed and going into the ocean at high speed. Why is that?
Why is that?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do they like fish?
Do they like octopus?
Are they the octopus?
Yeah, that's interesting.
That would suck if I opened up a UFO and it's a slimy octopus and he's mad at me.
Yeah.
So, this is what keeps me up at night.
Sure.
Is what are we going to do about all that? I can't do much of anything.
No, we're all powerless.
Yeah, and so you gotta build community, and you gotta focus on. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill this cat. He's clawing me. Which one is this? Are you Hans? That is a big cat.
That's a big cat. Yeah. So, it's a good thing that we live in a time where we can see 2 billionaires argue.
Yeah. Meanwhile, that's the thing. Epstein changed the channel. You know what I mean? I want to know about the aliens. I think Elon quit building his tunnels under LA because he found out they already had them and they had to tell him to stop.
Oh, really?
He was doing that a few years ago. He wanted to build, before he moved to Texas, he wanted to build tunnels under Los Angeles. But now we keep hearing that those already exist.
Interesting. Yeah. I thought that was known. Was that the Rich Highway? Is that what he was building?
The Oprah Tunnel.
The Oprah Tunnel. Yeah.
That's what I was calling it.
Nice. Yeah. And then Taylor Swift wouldn't have to waste so much money and resources. And
that's the thing. Taylor Swift needs a 0-point energy PJ.
Yeah.
See, and here's the thing now. I think the internet's time is limited because I don't think we'll be able to tell what's real and what's fake, and we're just going to have to abandon it.
Yeah.
Because I keep seeing fake Trump posts, and now I can't tell what's real. I'm not going to spend all this time on True Social trying to determine what's real.
Yeah.
But I could get a Pikachu decal on Pokemon Go in the Philippines. There's an ad for St. Peter Funeral Services with a Pikachu casket. That's the word I couldn't think of, was casket. It's got Pikachus all over the casket.
Cool. And that's available in the Philippines, you said?
Apparently.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did caskets in the Philippines.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because is that common all over the world that people bury people in caskets like that?
I don't know.
In Europe, they don't have room.
Yeah.
Where do they bury
people?
In Europe.
Yeah, and in the Philippines, it's all mountain.
Where do they bury people in Europe? People are usually buried in cemeteries.
I feel like we're eventually going to run out of room.
This is why I've always said I wanted to be cremated, because when I was a kid, I saw this special on TV about, they had a Cuban gravedigger who was anonymously whistleblowing to the news that he had been paid to dig up bodies and throw them away. to make room for new ones.
Crazy.
And I just don't want that to happen to me.
You don't want to be thrown away.
I don't care how decomposed I am. I don't want to be dug up.
Yeah.
So I'd rather not be buried.
Yeah. They just turn to ash.
Yeah, ashing them up and just dump me in the river.
To be recycled again.
Yeah, because that's the best way.
I would love to be recycled into a tree.
I like that thing they do where they bury you in a pod that turns into a tree. But then what if your tree gets cut down?
You know what? Yeah, that'd be kind of funny, actually, if your tree was cut down and used for,
Toilet paper.
or...
Generic toilet paper is the worst end for a tree.
Yeah.
Like Scott will clear like a whole forest and make shitty generic 2-ply that goes into a university center bathroom. That's not the tree I want to be. I want to be a Charmin tree.
I wouldn't mind being taken down and turned into a guitar or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that wood is older.
That's true.
You got to, because that's the gamble, is you got to hope that you live long enough to really be nourished all the way up into that tree, and that tree ages enough to be turned into something beautiful and not just toilet paper.
Yeah. So we're talking at least 150 years from now.
Oh, my God. And that's a long time.
Yeah. Will guitars even
Probably not.
be useful?
Still?
I don't know.
They won't be wood still. You think they'll still be wood?
I think so.
Wood is apparently one of the most precious resources in the universe.
I could see that. Because you need it for a lot of shit.
Well, it's not just that. It's that it's hard to grow because it's a living thing. So it's a product that's born from a living
Conditions.
thing. So like you can just make a diamond. You don't need to nurture life to make a diamond.
Yeah.
So there's diamonds in space. Lots of diamonds. But wood requires that you have a situation where a tree can grow and develop and mature.
Yeah.
And then that wood can be harvested. And that's what made me think of that, is because it takes the longest. Like corn doesn't take 150 years.
Yeah. 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 Let's just switch to bamboo. Bamboo doesn't take a long time.
Bamboo is nice.
Yeah. It doesn't take very long. It fucking grows like a weed. It populates. If an area is affected by bamboo, the whole area is going to be affected by bamboo. You're gonna have a bad time.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Man, I really could go for some Lion's Choice right now.
I know. I started us off like that. What time are we at?
43.
Because coming up, let's see what's on the horizon. This will probably come out Monday. And Monday, June 9th, is the Drogo farewell show at the Focal Point. Have you ever been to the Focal Point?
I have, actually. I went there as a part of the Puppet Slam.
Yeah, that's definitely going to sell out because I think it's only 140 capacity.
Yeah, it's rather small.
And Blinded by Stereo is playing off-Broadway next Friday, June 13th, with Synthetic Sun and Freddie Versus, I think. And then the next night, No Antics is playing it off-Broadway.
Oh.
2 other really great bands. So next weekend is going to be poppin'. I'll be at both. And you have stuff happening?
I have stuff going on this weekend, but it doesn't even matter because it's going to come out on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm just doing gay improv all weekend.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm doing also gay improv because it's June next Saturday, the 14th.
Oh, perfect. And I think the 13th we're talking about having Tim in here for our annual Pride stream.
Yes. Yeah.
That's going to be a busy, busy day. And so homework in the meantime, kids, is to figure out, are the plasmoids angels? And how long does it take to charge a Tesla? Let me just pull up my notes here to make sure we didn't skip anything. Why do I have this? Oh, that's music trivia. Did you see that a ceiling collapsed at the new screening of Final Destination Bloodlines?
No, but that is so on point.
It is so. It's like I would almost bet they did it on purpose.
Yeah. I
doubt it.
Review the tapes.
But there's no way.
There's no way I'm not leaving there without an omen, at least.
Here's a summation of what I wrote down of what I was talking about. UFOs, UAPs, and non-human intelligence are all what we would have called divine or paranormal or supernatural before we got to this place where everything is scientifically observable. So that's the problem. 100 years ago, we would have said angels, demons.
Sure. But now we're saying...
But now we're like, we have to have a
beings.
scientific explanation. And I don't think, have access to the full science of reality. I think we live within a controlled science, and that's part of the problem.
That's part of the problem.
That's part of the problem, and I've always said that.
I've always said that.
What do you usually get at Lion's Choice?
I'll usually just get like a large roast beef fries.
You get the large, like the longer one?
Yeah.
Because there's the regular one, and then there's the large, which is longer.
I'll get the long one.
And then there's the king, which is twice as much beef, but on a regular bun.
Yeah, I love the long one.
The long one is nice.
Yeah.
It's the same shape as the classic chicken sandwich from Burger King, which is a family favorite. But I ate too many of those recently.
Yeah.
And you start to have that feeling of being full, but for nothing. Like when you eat too many chips at a Mexican restaurant, you're like, I'm full, but for no good reason.
No good reason.
There's no nourishment happening.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I'll get. And I usually don't veer from that. That's usually
You don't
what-
need to.
Yeah.
The other stuff is nice.
I got the remix one time. That was pretty good.
I like the remix a lot because I like the Texas toast.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then I'll get like the biggest fry I can. I fucking love those fries.
Yeah, they're double fried.
Double
They
fried.
fry them and then give them a break and
with
then they fry them again.
natural tips.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like hand cut looking.
Hand cut looking.
Yeah.
They didn't skin the
Yeah,
potato.
I don't mind that.
No.
Like
That's why I like
looking
a
at,
Wendy's
like,
fry.
Some of these English dishes you see, they do like peeled, boiled new potatoes, and they cover them in like parsley or something, and it
Yeah.
looks really nice. I am not standing around shaving all those potatoes.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
Not
it's
me.
not for me.
Yeah.
I like a roasted potato where like you smash it on the pan and then you
Yummy.
roast it, or like you could boil it with the skin on and then punch it and then
Yeah, like a
roast it to
crispy.
get it crispy.
When I was
Or like
at,
even in a potato salad or something, I do not mind the skin being in there.
no, and I love a red potato salad.
Yeah.
And when I was at Peacemakers, I got that shrimp boil.
Oh.
And it came with like half boiled red potatoes and half like fried red potatoes,
Yeah.
like wedges.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, I love that
I
there.
love that. Yeah.
What else did you get there?
And then we got the lobster roll.
Oh, yeah, got it.
I wanted to have a little nostalgia
Yeah.
of being in the Northeast.
Oh, did you eat those out there?
Oh yeah, that's
Common?
yeah, that's very common. It's like the thing that you eat out there is a lobster roll. Because Maine and is right.
But you
there.
were in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
But you're near that.
yeah, New Hampshire. It's like this tiny little like corner where it's like Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts, and it's like 45 minutes to
Oh,
get through
really?
3 states. Yeah, I was like, because I was in Portsmouth or outside Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and it borders with Kittery, Maine. So you just hop across a bridge, kind of like here, except it's a bridge you want to cross, and
Yeah.
you go to Kittery, Maine, and get some lobster roll. Get a lobster roll. Yeah.
Is it as expensive there?
I would say so. Yeah, it's probably more expensive here, but it's not much of a
Difference.
yeah.
Because it's not cheap, but it's that is a.
But it's more accessible
you go
there.
warm, buttery lobster roll, or you go cold.
I go cold. I'll do both, but I'll do a cold. Cold is the Maine way. Hot is the Connecticut way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in a restaurant and somebody's doing it for me, I feel like hot makes sense.
Yeah. I don't mind it on like a hot buttery roll. I'll take it both ways. I don't care. I'm a lobster verse.
Celery salt.
Celery salt. I got one in up in what was that called? Well, it was Acadia National Park, but there's a town right outside of it that had a lobster roll that had like corn kernels on top of corn, little niblets with some like celery and really nice like mayo-y
Some people
lobster
add
roll.
things like corn or peas to their salad.
I can't do peas. That's like the one thing I'm like, ugh.
You don't like peas?
I don't like peas. I never have.
I always go back and forth.
You know what I always say is that like I don't like peas, but I'll eat them if I have to, like in like a chicken pot pie or something.
Yeah. I really enjoy them in that context when they're with carrots and like in like a chicken demi glaze and like a pot pie or something.
But growing up, I had them just as a side, just like fresh out the can.
That makes me so mad. There's one of those Cajun guys that cooks on TikTok. And he's the old guy that says, "In that motherfucking cornbread." But he's always got peas, and he spoons them out, and they're like in like that much liquid in a pan. And I'm like,
Gross.
I don't want the liquid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like corn, what Keenan's family taught me to do is they burn their corn. Or you do, if you're going to serve canned corn,
Yeah.
you put it in like a skillet and you cook out all the moisture and kind of char it a little bit. Really good.
That sounds really good.
Peas, I guess, get mushy real quick if you try to do something like that, but I don't want peas. I don't want to eat anything really that's standing in this much liquid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about like the green beans in there. Like I'll eat them, but if I'll do some like bacon crumbles or something in there. It'll
But if I'm going to bother to
Church
eat
it
a
up a little
vegetable,
bit.
it's like the fresh just makes more sense.
yeah. I love a roasted broccoli or roasted
Yeah.
cauliflower. Oh Lord, take me
like
home.
At Platypus, you ever get the cauliflower there?
Oh, love the cauliflower
really
there.
Good. I always get the cauliflower and the Brussels sprouts. And then I think the last time I went, though, I think I got double Brussels sprout. Because the Brussels sprouts are that
Brussels
good.
sprouts are fucking amazing.
Not on their own, but the ones at Platypus are that good.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna just munch on the fucking Brussels sprout. It's reserved for bacon, greasiness. It needs to be roasted, charred, really.
Yeah. Get that Maillard reaction.
And the Brussels sprout Caesar at Good Company is fucking fantastic
yeah,
too.
with the crispy quinoa
Yes.
and the arugula.
Yes.
Is that arugula?
I don't know.
That's my signature salad. It's one of my favorite foods.
It's very fucking
Yeah,
good.
I get that a lot. And
And the burgers are good too.
I like the patty melt there. He's always got a different patty melt going.
Yeah.
The first one they did had like pears on it. It was nice. But just a burger on a bun at a nicer place like that, I'm not as into. Their burger's really nice.
Yeah.
The patty melt is more my speed. Do you remember going to Steak and Shake in the 90s?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I used to always get a platter of chili cheese fries.
Oh yeah. That's classic.
And they give you a real fork.
Yeah.
It's all fast.
What's a fake fork?
plastic
like a
fork.
plastic. Okay.
Yeah. What's a fake fork?
Yeah. No, I mean that's like it was a fast casual.
Yeah, but it was more like it used to be more like a diner,
Yes.
and now it's more like a Five Guys.
Yes. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like a Chipotle or a Five Guys now than it used to be.
Yep. And that was the end of it. I mean, what really took them out? Like people loved a Frisco melt. Like you can't get a Frisco melt anywhere else.
Everybody who really ate a lot of Steak and Shake tells me that when they started the 4-for-4 meals, the food dipped in quality. So they reimagined their vending with the quality of the food.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of downhill from there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like if it was between a Steak and Shake and a Freddy's, I'm going Freddy's all day because they kind of got like a Frisco melt type of thing going.
But the difference used to be the experience.
Yes.
Especially when I was a kid, you could smoke inside.
Yeah. Yep.
You
Share
go in there,
a
look,
cheese
it's
fry.
11 o'clock. I got $15. I'm going to Steak and Shake. I'm going to get a milkshake and a chili cheese fry platter, and I'm going to smoke some Marble 27s.
It's 6 o'clock before prom. We're going to Steak and Shake, and or maybe even after prom. We're going to Steak and Shake.
I want to say there was a homecoming dance where we went to Steak and Shake before and after. Mm-hmm. Like maybe different ones even.
Sure. Yeah, the one I most frequented was one up in Florissant off Lindbergh and New Florissant area.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where a lot of my friends were. And then maybe some in St. Charles, but mostly it was the Steak and Shake up there. Jack in the Box up there. Man, I don't know if they still have them. I don't think they do because the potato wedges at Jack in the Box, cheesy potato wedges.
I don't know if they have those either.
Yeah, with some sour cream.
Jack in the Box is dropping like flies.
I know.
It's a real bummer.
Yeah.
Up Late does a version of the Jack in the Box taco now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
As well as Rockstar. We get it.
The Man in the Box.
Man in the Box.
Yeah, at Rockstar Tacos.
Yeah.
And also Hot Shots does Jack in the Box tacos.
Oh, nice.
I don't know where that recipe comes from. They all kind of refer to it as the Jack in the Box recipe.
Yeah.
Next week on Jacob V Weekly, the origin of the Jack in the Box taco. I got groceries on the porch. We'll see you next week.